Okay, so we'll start with this opening prayers. Noan dangla dangwar jepe ndra nopar jepe geng tarpa dangdam chekyem pebar du chopar jepa tam chekyu so jepe ma namka dangnam pesem chen tamche dewa dang den 동경 당드레 녀르두 라나 메파 양닥 파르조 배정 조렘 보체토 파른야. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. Nōndeyin chendu sama gekim bardu lunga yisum gewa la kol mashim bardu lunga yisum gewa la kol dodering ne jungde nima sangda samgim bardu lunga yisum gewa la kol. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Noan Jangju Nimbur Jingye Ba Sangye Namla Gyapsu Chi Chodong Janchu Zemba Yin Tsolang Dejing Gyapsu Chi Jindang Gongyen Desheg Ki Jangju Tukni Kempa Dang Jangju Sembe Lamba La Deda Rimjin Nempa Ta Dejin Jola Pendon Do Jangju Senning Kegi Jing Dejin Dune Lamba Lang Remba Jindu Labar Yi-o. I take refuge in the Buddhas until attaining the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assemblies of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until attaining the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the Bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the Bodhisattva's path. Noan Sangye Jodan Tsokye Jonam La Jangju Bardu Dagni Kyapsu Chin Dangi Jinson Jebe Sonam Ki Jola Penzir Sangye Jupar Shog. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Noa ma namka dangnam besem jendam chen dewa dang dewe gyudang dembar gyur chik donggel dan donggel ging gyudang drelwar gyur chik nogel mebe dewa dang mindrawar gyur chik nering chakdang nidang drewen dangnom lane bar gyur chik. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Mandala offering in English only. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping. Completely liberated from the bonds of real and unreal, transcending the names and attributes of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. When I offer it, bless me to attain the state of Buddha. Om Guru Deva Kini Radna Mandala Pratichat Swaha. Dagzem Nyingin Nangne Solwan Den Chonin Kinan Nejin Jinlom Semdo Negi Menam Dagdi Lode Chogorn Togbar Jinji Lom. I supplicate you from the core of my heart, bless me within the state of Dharmata. Oh, that's the wrong prayer. Semchen namgi samba dang loyi jejun jinda war jejun dumon demba yin jogi ngorlo ngordo sol. Please turn the wheel of Dharma of the greater, lesser, and common vehicles according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings. Okay, but also good to get blessed to have the Dharmakaya arise in our mind. Okay, so I'll screen share the Ngondro text. So today we will be going over this mandala offering section. We'll read through it first, and then we'll read through each section and then explain a bit, of course. So we've gone through the refuge, bodhicitta, refuge, this purification of Vajrasattva, and now we're on to the mandala offering. So of course this mandala offering is not just about making physical outer offerings. This section has to do with the self-grasping imprints of our mind. It has to do with the releasing, with letting go, with expanding. We're so used to contraction in our life, being absorbed in our own kind of small, limited bubble. So this mandala section is actually about relinquishing this grasping to a small, limited view and expanding this out further, and further. Classically, we have this 37-point mandala offering that's done, for example, in teachings and drupchens or whatnot. Maybe in the middle, like groups will come up and make this 37-point offering. And this is kind of the classical mandala offering that comes from Golden Age Indian Buddhism, right? Where we have the representations of the outer universe, or the outer worlds from a Indian cosmology, offering goddesses all the attributes of power of Indian kings and emperors and whatnot. So this is sort of the way that we are initially exposed to the mandala offering, that it has to do with a lot of relinquishing of personal wealth, assets, and maybe what we consider as powerful supports in this world, or beneficial supports. This mandala offering, not only in this cycle but in other cycles as well, that are more focused on kind of the essence teachings. So a lot of Nyingma cycles that deal with Dzogchen or Ati Yoga is the view. This has a Three Kaya Mandala offering. It will have a Nirmana Kaya, Sambhoga Kaya, and Dharma Kaya Mandala offering. It will start usually with kind of the traditional 37-point offering, and then it moves into those Three Kaya offerings. And each one is a method and a remedy for something specific within our own mind stream. So this section starts off with very kind of the traditional way that we would set up offering the mandala no matter what system you're in. So it says, third, the offering of the mandala. While reciting the 100-syllable mantra 3 times, apply perfumed water with your forearm, or medicinal water, or blessed water. There's different ways to say it, but essentially you would have your mandala plate in your left hand, and then you would pour the vase water that has appropriate substances in it. At minimum, you would have saffron in the water, and maybe a bajang pill, it's called. It's a pill that has all the kind of substances needed to bless the bumpa. But at minimum, maybe saffron. You pour that onto the mandala plate, and with your forearm of your right hand, or right arm, clockwise, you recite the 100-syllable Vajrasattva mantra. So, you would recite Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manobalaya Vajrasattva Denoba as you're kind of washing this mandala with your forearm. Then, at that point, once it's clean, then you would begin to add these heaps of substance. Clean rice, grains that have been washed and dried, or rinsed and dried, gemstone flakes, any type of substance that's deemed worthy of offering. And then you would begin applying the appropriate order of the mandala offering. This can be found in numerous places. If you are interested in doing the 37-point mandala offering, I can send out later maybe a schematic of the order. It's common to all lineages, actually. Here, it's not in the root text, and it says the 37-point mandala can be added if you wish. But you recite the 100-syllable mantra, and then, at minimum, you would recite the next line, the next little paragraph. Om Ahong, the stains of my own and limitless sentient beings' misdeeds, obscurations, faults, and downfalls are purified, like the dust from the mandala, and become great emptiness. As well, the offerings are purified and transform into great emptiness. So this is kind of, after you recite this 100-syllable mantra, holding the mandala plate in front of you, right, still being held in your hand, with the mandala plate and your offerings near you, you recite that next line. Then it says, even if you cannot offer this 37-heap mandala perfectly, it is acceptable to recite the offering verses while pouring the heaps of rice loosely. So then we go on to the actual mandala section of this Dechen Nyingpo. Ngondro. So then, again, it goes into the liner notes. To begin, the heaps are made while the actual offering words are fourfold and accumulated as much as possible. Fourfold means there's 4 sections. There's our Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya, then a dedication section. So the first is the Nirmanakaya Mandala. So how the heaps are made is that with your offering substance, whether it's rice, grains, flakes of gemstones that you can buy, or not really gemstones, but semi-precious stones or whatnot. You make a central heap, and then you go in the 4 directions: north, south, east, west. You start in the back of the mandala, so it means if you're holding the mandala in your hand, you would go in the very front of the plate. This would be east. All right, then west would be in the back. Basically, east is facing you. East is facing you. So you go east, right? Then you would go clockwise, east. Then you go to your left, the next section, which would be south, then west, then north. Basically, you just do a clockwise. So center and then clockwise. And you make this offering heap as you recite the verse for the mandala offering. So there's the phonetic Tibetan there, right? Omahong, Namnang, Gangchen, Dorje, Mandal, Kyon, Jining, Pema, Gempe, Tsombu Ko, Chinang, Yontang, Gyatso, Ko, Parden, Lama, Tulko, Tsokla, Bol, Gije, and then the English, which explains the meaning of the Nirmanakaya offering. So Omahong, we have the blessings of body, speech, and mind. Omahong. So the visualization for this mandala offering is the same as sort of the refuge field, right? You have this field of refuge in front of you. Buddhas, bodhisattvas, yidams, dakinis, lineage holders, the root guru, all of these things are visualized, expansive and clear in front of you. And here, Om Ahung, so you imagine sort of the blessings of all of the refuge and field of merit are coming towards you and kind of fill you with the purification of body, speech, and mind. And then you imagine coming out from your being, right? Basically, from your mind, from your body, speech, and mind, essentially. You're visualizing that an infinite array of offerings is going out to this field of merit and refuge. Here, specifically on the Nirmanakaya Mandala, we can focus on kind of outer offerings, things that are of great value and wealth to us, things that are deemed important, whether that's a physical thing or a mental thing, right? You can offer that. But the main thing is this feeling of letting go and giving, of allowing ourselves to relinquish everything that we cling to. But of course, this Nirmanakaya is dealing with the outer aspect. So it says, this mandala of Vairochana and the disciples of the snowy land is arranged in heaps, adorned with lotuses at the heart of the ground. It is arrayed with oceanic outer and inner qualities. I offer it to the Nirmanakaya gurus. Please accept it. So, the mandala of Vairochana is speaking of the Buddha Vairochana. This Buddha Vairochana is considered everything we see, hear, smell, taste, or touch, the outer dimension, in one view from Tantra, right, is considered to be the mandala of Vairochana. So this is why the wording is used, that everything we see is actually this realm of Vairochana, actually. It says, and the disciples of the snowy land. So the mandala of Vairochana and the disciples of the snowy land. This could be translated a few ways. Actually, if we were to kind of do a contemporary translation, you could literally just say, and the disciples of the world. We don't necessarily have to default to Tibet, but to keep it, not to change the original, it's like the disciples of the snowy land. So this includes both the lineage gurus that were kind of very important to Dharma coming into Tibet, right? You could think Guru Rinpoche, Vimala Mitra, 25 heart disciples, the king and the subjects, right? And also all the practitioners that abide and all of the disciples of those gurus. So this is sort of how we're directing our offering here, right? We're seeing the outer world as a display of the mandala of Vairochana, and then all of the disciples, you could say, of Guru Rinpoche, of all the very important Kempo Shantarakshita, Vimala Mitra, 25 heart disciples, king and subjects, etc., etc. This is kind of our object of offering, or who we're directing the offering towards. It says, adorned with lotuses at the heart of the ground. Again, this can also be translated a few different ways. But basically, arranged in heaps. So this is the actual offering pile that you are offering, right? Arranged in heaps. This mandala of Vairochana, disciples of the snowy land, arranged in heaps, because the mandala plate that we have in our hand and the heaps that we're offering to it represent kind of this realm of offering connected with the visualization, right? So the mandala of Vairochana and like the snowy land, or like this world itself, this world system is represented by the mandala in your hand. The heaps that you're offering are representing kind of very pure, beautiful, untainted offerings. So here lotuses are used. Why lotuses? Because in the Saha world, in this world system, the lotus is the symbol of the purity that comes from the defilements of the human realm, right? Like we can arise out of the defilements of like this realm itself. So this is why lotuses are used. The heart of the ground has many ways to interpret it. One, it's the center of the mandala, but because you start there. But two, the heart of the ground is talking about kind of this ground nature, the essence of your own ground nature. So you really need to offer to this outer display that we're visualizing of Vairochana and all these like the gurus, right? This field of merit and refuge. And this represents the utter purification of our defilements. This is what they represent. So this, you're offering to their their purified, awakened mind. The offering is directed toward this field of purity, which is the mind of awakening, which is their kind of own aspect of being a fully realized Buddha or Bodhisattva, or being on the grounds. And the heart of the ground is your own innate pure nature. That's recognized, right? So this offering is really directed towards that. We cannot say like offering a lotus or a grain of rice or a gold bar. This really is not the point. The point is you're offering letting go. You're offering your mind relinquishing self-clinging, and you're aiming that towards these objects of refuge, right? You're aiming that towards the field of accumulation, which is the awakened mind of the lineage, essentially. Lineage gurus, deities, yidams, etc. So the next line it says, it is arrayed with oceanic outer and inner qualities. These are the offerings, right? So we try to offer the best thing that we can on an outer level. And then the inner qualities means both our inner qualities and it is also the inner qualities of objects. This means like the tendril of objects. This is a deeper subject than what we will go over today, but like every object has a quality of tendril to it, right? So you can think of the outer offerings, Argam, Padyam, Pushpam, Dupam, right? Each of those outer offerings represents an inner quality. So this is kind of how tendril works. We use an outer object that has an inner meaning to it. So this is what it's talking about, arrayed with oceanic outer and inner qualities. I offer it to the Nirmanakaya gurus, please accept it. So here we're directing our offering towards the visualization of the outer Nirmanakaya gurus in general, right? Our own root Lama, the lineage Lamas. Of course, it says Vairochana. Vairochana is a Sambhogakaya Buddha, but in the realm of Vairochana, all Nirmanakayas manifest. So here, this is now connecting us with the outer appearance. And this is also connected with purifying our grasping at direct outer appearances that we see. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, you can say. Like all of the grasping we have at those objects and are clinging to them and not wanting to relinquish our patterns and imprints to those things. This is what this particular section of the mandala offering is actually, how do you say, kind of purifying. And we repeat this over and over, right? Essentially, we accumulate whatever we can, number-wise, given our time, circumstance, and condition. So we would repeat over and over, right? Either the Tibetan or the English, doesn't matter, or both. Right? Omahong, this mandala of Vairochana and the disciples of the snowy lands is arranged in heaps, adorned with lotuses at the heart of the ground. It is arrayed with oceanic outer and inner qualities. I offer it to the Nirmanakaya gurus. Please accept it. Omahong. You keep repeating that while you make the offering on the mandala plate. Best case scenario. Second best, you just maybe make one mandala offering, or you have a kind of permanent mandala, a support mandala on your altar, which would be a mandala plate or a plate, high quality plate of some sort that has 5 tormas offered in each direction, or 5 tormas, one for each direction in the center, or 5 heaps of rice or quality substances. You can keep that on your altar as your mandala support. And then you would repeat this supplication over and over, understanding the meaning. I'm offering to the outer gurus, you can say. Let's just say Nirmanakaya gurus to keep it simplified right now. To the Nirmanakaya gurus, the lineage you have connection with, your own root guru, and you're visualizing and offering things that you find valuable, useful, meaningful, things that you're attached to, right? Because what we're attached to, we place value on those things. Whether that value is beneficial to us or not is another discussion, but nonetheless, it is valuable to us, even if it's accumulating imprints that aren't kind of necessarily beneficial. This is a chance to let go of those things. So in the mandala offering, we should be kind of letting go of everything and offering it. There is no offering that a Buddha deems unacceptable. Of course, in the text, it's going to say things that have, an oceanic outer and inner qualities, but we can relinquish anything that we're attached to, that we cling onto, that we hold, let go of that, right? Especially in this case, outer things, right? So, for example, if we have an addiction to something, let's say I have an addiction to scrolling on my phone, okay? I can actually offer that. Visualize your like phone being given in millions of repetitions to the field of refuge, along with other fine things, right? So this Nirmanakaya offering, Nirmanakaya Mandala, is kind of the seed and the tendril to relinquish grasping at the outer level, our body and our senses, our 5 senses, right? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and all of the limitations that come with those senses. And then when those limitations are overcome, all of the qualities, the enlightened qualities that come with those senses, right? So having the eye of Dharma, the ear of Dharma, right? The taste of Dharma, the smell of Dharma, all of these things. It means we will attract the qualities of Dharma to those senses, and it means those sense spheres and faculties open up wider and wider so that they're used for the benefit of self and other. Okay, then Kaya Mandala, right? We move on to the next section, the Tibetan, and we're still doing, it doesn't repeat the instructions, but again, you would have your mandala and you offer heaps, center and then go clockwise. While you repeat the words, right? So the Tibetan Omahong, Rangre Geshe Ngayi Jinkamsu, Rigne Kudang Jinchok Tombar Tram, Dorje Trinle Rabjamze Pargyen, Lama Longku Tsoglabul Yije Omahong. The pure realm of self-awareness is 5 wisdoms. The kayas of the 5 families and the supreme pure realms are arrayed, beautifully adorned, with the infinite enlightened activity of the disciples. I offer it to the Sambhogakaya gurus. Please accept it. So here, the pure realm of self-awareness is 5 wisdoms. Right? Now we're talking about the 5 poisons purified or released or transformed, whatever word you want to use, into the 5 wisdoms, which are none other than, right, the kayas of the 5 families. 5 families, and then you can include Vajrasattva as kind of the, or Vajradhara as the as one of the 5 families. In the Nyingma tradition, usually Vajrasattva will be placed kind of instead of either Akshobhya. Yeah, usually Akshobhya will be replaced with Vajrasattva. Okay, anyway, that's separate from this. That can be talked about later. But anyway, 5 Buddha families. So self-awareness of the 5 wisdoms is the essence of the 5 Buddha families. Actually, better to use whatever you're accustomed to as far as the 5 families go. So this is, Buddha, Vajra, Ratna, Padma, and Karma families. So 5 wisdoms, 5 Buddha families. Now we're talking about the Sambhogakaya aspect of the Buddhas, right? Before we're talking about Nirmanakaya, the gurus, the lineage that came into Tibet, Padmasambhava, Vimalamitra, your own root guru, etc., etc. Here it's the 5 Buddha families who are endowed with the 5 wisdoms and the supreme pure realms. So now these are, you can connect with whatever pure realm that calls to you, right? We could say, this is all kind of arrayed within Akanishta. Akanishta holds all the pure realms. So the realm of Akanishta has like Kechara, it has, we can say Chamara, it has Pema Od, it has, we can say Amitabha's pure realm, etc., etc. So kind of whatever pure realm of, Dakini pure realm, Buddha pure realm, whatever we have a connection with or is easy to recall for us. If not, just overarching, Akanishta is the pure realm of Sambhogakaya Buddhas, right? These pure realms are arrayed, right? So now, as we're placing these heaps on the plate, on the mandala plate, we're visualizing the 5 Buddha families now as the heaps. You can say the heaps are the 5 Buddha families. And anything else that's on the plate, right? So as you place the heaps, things spill over and the plate becomes full. You wipe it off, you place a heap and like kind of grains spill, or the objects that you're offering spill over. This is like all of the supreme pure realms are kind of infused, spilling over, right? It says, with the infinite enlightened activity of the disciples. So it also means like all of the Nirmanakaya gurus, all of the beings that have taken bodhisattva vows, the bodhisattvas themselves, even the Buddha families themselves. Like, you have a Sambhogakaya Buddha, the 5 Buddha families you're visualizing, right? This is kind of what is on, this is what you're offering to. So you can imagine them like this. Remember, this plate represents this mandala that we're offering. So you have the 5 Buddha families, the pure realms, and all of the activity that comes along with all of the enlightened beings is spilling over, is flowing out. It says, I offer it to the Sambhogakaya gurus, please accept it. So you're actually offering this visualization and this awareness back to the Sambhogakaya gurus. Before we offered physical things, things that we're kind of have we deem valuable and are attached to, things that are maybe are deemed as useful and worthy and wealthy and of benefit to beings in this realm through the 5 senses. Here we can say the 6th sense of thinking, of like our mind is transformed into the 5 wisdoms. So we kind of move beyond the imprint of all of this self-clinging and grasping and rejection and acceptance and affirmation and denial. And we kind of rest within our sense spheres being open. This is kind of as close as we'll get to the 5 wisdoms on a very basic level. Our sense spheres are open, meaning the 5 senses are kind of settled and relaxed. We don't cling to that. And then this 5 Buddha families, right? We kind of understand that when the 5 poisons are relinquished or like let to, when the 5 poisons are let to dissolve, and what's behind them is kind of the energy of the 5 wisdoms, and this is sort of the door to the 5 Buddha families. You're imagining and giving that feeling of openness, of spaciousness, of your senses being already settled and okay, without clinging, without grasping. You can think of it as you're offering your goodness, your kind of primordial goodness, this display and play that normally is contaminated with concepts. Like if the concepts are released and relinquished, then you have this dynamic play of energy that's kind of spontaneous, pure, blissful, benefits yourself and others when you're resting in this state. You're offering that back. We visualize that and we think of that as the 5 families in the pure realms. But what that really is the innate display of our own purified energies when they're not grasped at, right? Just like this outer world and realm is a reflection of kind of impure Sol, we say Sol energy, Dang Ropa and Sol in this kind of Ati context, right? Dzogchen way. Dang being open spaciousness, kind of the open quality of all things, not just our mind. We can say all things. Rolpa is the play, the dance. The ability for things to move comes from the openness, and they move within this openness. And then Tsal is like the direct energy we connect with through our vision. And this Dang Ropa and Tsal, purified, right? Tsal purified has a connection with the 5 wisdoms. Ropa has a connection with the families and pure realms. Dang is the space where it all arises in. We are offering that state, you can say. We're trying to connect with that state and offer it, right? I offer it to the Sambhogakaya gurus, please accept. So you're offering this kind of state, for lack of a better word, back to their own state, right? The state of the Sambhogakaya gurus. So Sambhogakaya gurus kind of dance within this space of Rolpa. So complete enjoyment body, right? If we say Sambhogakaya is the complete enjoyment body, it means you're enjoying your own essence. They're not enjoying objects. When you say enjoyment body, it doesn't mean I'm enjoying a slice of cake. I'm enjoying a thing. It means what you're enjoying is your own purified potential. that arises from itself. So like, it's not an outer quality you're enjoying a purified inner quality. Okay, you're offering that back now. So you make this offering with the mandala plate, with the heaps of, how do you say, the heaps of whatever the offering substances you're making. And this represents the 5 families, the 5 wisdoms, and the pure realms, right? All arrayed. Arrayed where? Within your own awareness, right? The basic space of your own awareness. And this itself, it says, with the enlightened activity, it means what you're doing at that moment. You can think of it this way. What you're doing in that moment, when your sense spheres are open, you're not clinging and grasping, this is actually getting close to what, it's like a pointing out of enlightened activity. This enlightened activity, whether, one of the 4 activities, this happens spontaneously through the magnetism of the disciple, like a unrefined being and an awakened being. There's no thought of, I'm going to do something. It just happens. So when we're offering the mandala, even though of course we're thinking we're doing it because we're still purifying, right? We need to kind of let go and relinquish. And this is a seed for enlightened activity to take place. So each of the mandala offerings actually is a seed to an accomplishment, right? So the seed to the Nirmana Kaya Mandala is that our grasping at outer objects becomes lessened, and then our outer environment, we're planting the seed for the tendril for the outer environment to arise as Nirmana Kaya supports in our, let's say, in our next life, if we don't become awakened during this life or the process of death, right? To the bardos. If we don't awaken in the bardos, it's giving us the tendril and the seed for the tendril for our next incarnation to arise full of Nirmana Kaya supports. The Sambhoga Kaya Mandala is planting the seed that if we don't awaken in the bardo, then our inner display, our inner energies, our thoughts, all of the subtleties that come with being embodied become worked out more quickly as an energetic support. We can say our thoughts will be a bit more pure in the sense of clean for imprint, right? We'll naturally be attracted to internal visions, arising dream states, harmonious conditions, our Vajra body, right? Our inner health, right? All of that will be kind of expanded and set to a better condition in our next life. Okay, then Dharmakaya Mandala. So we accumulate that, right? And then we move on to the Dharmakaya Mandala. Now you can do this, all of this can be done. You can do one session of Nirmanakaya Mandala, then move on to Sambhogakaya. Or you can combine all of these into one session and do 10, 15, 20 minutes of each one. It doesn't really matter. You work with your circumstance and condition. Okay. Third, Nirmanakaya Mandala. Omahong. Rigtong Keme Chokyu Longyang Su Korde Kunkyab Choying Sombortram Gyegyag Namne Yeshe Gengi Gen Lamacho Kyu Tsogla Borgi Je Omahong. In the vast expanse of the unborn Dharmakaya of awareness emptiness, the Dharma Dhatu, the all-pervading sphere of reality of samsara and nirvana is displayed, adorned with the wisdom ornaments of no arising, no ceasing, and no abiding. I offer this to the Dharmakaya gurus. Please accept it. So, even though we're offering these kind of grains on the plate still, now we relinquish all concept of sort of who's offering, what's being offered, right? This Dharma Dhatu, the all-pervading sphere of reality of samsara and nirvana is displayed. It's saying absolutely everything and nothing at all at the same time. It's beyond being something or being nothing, right? So now forget even sort of visualizing a particular thing. We're going through the motions, we are chanting these words, or like going through this section. Well, we understand that the nature of mind, kind of this karak side, dharmakaya of awareness, emptiness, in and of itself, everything is contained within that. It says, adorned with the wisdom ornaments of no arising, no ceasing, and no abiding. Non-arising, non-ceasing, non-abiding. This is pointing at the ground nature of like karak, or the empty side of things. What is there to arise? Like, what is there to cease and what is there to abide? Even thinking about or contemplating that line, adorned with the wisdom ornaments of non-arising, or no arising, no ceasing, and no abiding. Like, if we contemplate on that and think about the pith instructions we've received from our gurus and teachers, and like the spaces that we've gone to, or the moments that we've connected with, kind of resting at ease. It says, I offer this to the Dharmakaya gurus. This would be like Samanta Bhaja, Kundu Zampo, or Vajradhara, Dorje Chang, right? This is who you're offering this to. You're offering it to the actual kind of ground nature. You're offering it to the realization, the state of abiding realization. Or let's say abiding realization, right? No abiding. We're offering it to the state of realization that is unceasing, right? Oh, no ceasing, can't use that either. We offer it to this awakened state itself. In the vast expanse of the unborn Dharma Kaya of awareness, emptiness. The Dharma Dhatu, the all-pervading sphere of reality of samsara and nirvana. Or the Dharma Dhatu is displayed. Right? It means everything. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Right? That was a movie. Adorned with the wisdom ornaments, so they're not really ornaments you wear. It's like, if you understand and don't waver from the understanding that things don't arise, things don't cease, and things don't abide, right? If this awareness is maintained, this is kind of the ornament of wisdom. So the real ornament of wisdom is this knowledge, not knowledge in an intellectual way, like this Gnostic knowledge, right, of our own condition. And you offer this up, and we offer it up without grasping to, I'm offering, there's an object to be offered, and I'm offering it to somebody, right? This is pointing at your natural state, actually. When you're doing this mandala, you might be saying this, but while you're saying it, it should be coming from a place of resting at ease. And the contradiction there is, but I have to say something and I'm doing something. And this is then joining the understanding of stillness and movement at the same time. So if we can do and partake in this mandala offering, and at the same time rest at ease in understanding this view, then this is a method for you to connect with and kind of understand more deeply movement and stillness, or the union of shamatha and vipassana. And that union, when you abide and rest in it, is a great insight, right? This is connected to the Dharmakaya. Okay, so you go through that, those three, and then at the end, right, now you set your you set down the mandala plate. You don't have to make physical offerings anymore. And then you make this aspiration prayer, right? Kusum yongzo gyalwe kyul kordu, chinang sangwe mandal pulwatu, kudan jinkyan dulja chinle kyun, dagjen drola yongso dzog par shok. The three kayas are perfectly complete. To the power of offering this outer, inner, and secret mandala, may all the enlightened forms, pure realms, and activities for those to be trained be completely perfected for myself and all beings. So now this is the aspiration prayer. And we accumulate as well the aspiration prayer. Many, many times. Many, many times. Right? The perfectly complete three kayas means that they're not separate bodies. They're not separate things. So like the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya are not layers that are peeled off and then you only access one. They're different ways of kind of looking through the prism of a crystal, or looking through the crystal, right? Then there's the solidness of the crystal, there's the emptiness of the crystal, then there's the light prism that comes out. They're all one, they're all embodied, you cannot separate these things. And this is how the kayas should be understood. At different moments in our waking life, dreaming life, or like deep sleep life or whatnot, at various moments throughout the day, we get pulled or sucked into, through imprints, different states. Some are very solid, some are loose and open, some are dull and blank, right? So that's the example, the outer example of like how the kayas are not really separate. Even though we get pulled into different states, like ordinary states, the abiding awareness, even though we lose that for a moment, is never actually lost because we can always come back to it. Same with how the activities of the kayas unfold. We shouldn't look at them as like, oh, there's a Nirmanakaya, and then later there's a Sambhogakaya, later there's a Dharmakaya. It's all unfolding simultaneously. So this is, the three kayas are perfectly complete. And it's simply through the karma of beings and their own merit on which of the kayas they connect with. We've had the merit in this life to connect to Nirmanakaya emanations, to the Guru, through forms, through seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching Dharma objects. Then maybe we've come through a little bit of touching at the possibility of like Sambhogakaya, through dream state, through internal energies, through something a bit not so solid that we've experienced through Dharma practice. And then maybe we've touched a bit of what the Dharmakaya means. Resting at an open, spacious state, or not, or those things that we just talked about, kind of, we're not stuck in one of these things of arising, ceasing, or abiding, right? We're kind of in this state of awareness, emptiness, even if it's for a moment. So we can see like all those things can be accessed, and even though we experience one side a bit stronger than the other, they're not separate things. They're all just different pathways kind of in this one matrix of awareness. All right, so then we accumulate this aspiration prayer a bit, right? The three kayas are perfectly complete. To the power of offering this outer, inner, and secret mandala, may all the enlightened forms, pure realms, and activities for those to be trained be completely perfected for myself and all beings. To the power of offering this outer, inner, and secret mandala. It's a unified mandala. It didn't say mandalas plural, right? It's the outer, inner, and secret aspects of a singular mandala. Okay, then in order to complete the great accumulation of merit, accumulate this mandala offering as much as you can with your three doors and all of your heart. Self-explanatory there, right? With your body, speech, and mind, like give your all, basically. At the end of the session, the field of merit melts into light or dissolves into light, and one receives the four empowerments. You can do this sequentially, or it's, white light at the forehead, red light at the throat, blue light at the heart, and then all the light dissolving into the three places at once. That would be the fourth empowerment. Or you just do it instantaneously. The field of merit dissolves into light, goes into your body, right? Goes into your form, rests, kind of finds its home in your heart, right? Your heart chakra, the center of your being, basically. And then that's receiving the four empowerments, and then rest in equipoise, right? It means now you just rest as best you can without these concepts arising and them overtaking you. Be at ease for a moment. Then dedicate the roots of virtue, into the sphere of space-like non-referential awareness. You can use any dedication prayer you want, or you can simply say that I dedicate into the sphere of space-like non-referential awareness all of these virtues, right? You can kind of use that line as your dedication. In order to complete the two accumulations, this is supremely profound. So the two accumulations of method and wisdom. So here, we've used the method of the mandala plate, the substances, the visualization, right? And going through each section, kind of understanding the inner meaning. This is like the method. And then the wisdom side is when we rest in really understanding each section from its kind of the overarching view of the purity of each section. We combine those two. This is supremely profound. Samaya seal, 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 right? So this is the end of that section of this treasure text of the Ngondro. It's pretty straightforward as far as how to practice it. And again, you look over each section, like contemplate on the words and meaning. And, you know, there's listening, pondering, and meditation. We need to do all. We need to do all three. We need to read, study. We need to contemplate and ponder, and then we need to apply the method that's in the that it's like pointing to. So this is nice in one way because a lot of Ngondros will just have kind of the outer mandala offering. You accumulate the grounded sprinkle with scented water and shuna flowers. It is adorned Meru, all continents, the sun and the moon. There's a Buddha field that offered this, right? Please, like this section usually is what's accumulated over and over with the 37-point mandala offering. And there might be a teaching on the inner meaning of it or whatnot. But here in this Ngondro and other Ngondros as well, but in this one that we're going through, this is very nice because it's telling you that the actual mandala, right? And then when we think about deity, the mandala of the deity, right? Not just a plate that we're offering to. This is pointing at the mandala itself, this like sphere. Mandala is also connected with like Bindu and Tigle. And mandala in Tibetan or in like Vajrayana is round. It has corners and gates. This is how manifestation appears to us through direction, time, and space. But the mandala is circular. And this is pointing at edgeless, boundless, like the reality of like being beyond space and time. Our mind, our awareness has no edge, no circumference, no limit. And this mandala is about relinquishing that limit, relinquishing it, letting go. This is why our hand picks something up and lets go. We have to understand that we can use things and they're beneficial, but we don't need to cling to them. Things have benefit for us and can benefit others. Let go, you know. So this, even the process of the mandala, you pick up, you let go. You pick up, you let go. There's all sorts of tendril in all of these things, and this is how Vajrayana works, right? People think sometimes, why are we doing all these things? It's super deep. It's like extremely profound, actually. We're training imprints of our body, even if we don't realize it. Pick up, let go, pick up, let go, you know. And then it's telling you that the actual mandala of your own existence, right? To use, again, not the greatest term, but like, is the three kayas. The mandala is the three kayas. The three kayas are not separate things. They're different aspects or dimensions of one kind of embodied existence of enlightened being. And in those different aspects, you have the Dharmakaya nature, right? No arising, cessation, like no birth, no death, no abiding, right? This is like the Dharmakaya open sphere of your awareness. Then you have the Sambhogakaya, which is this pure this display of the Pure Lands. Sambhogakaya gurus, the five wisdoms. This is the inner play, the inner story, the inner dynamic, right? The the complete enjoyment body. You're enjoying your own dynamic potential. You're not enjoying some outer object that somebody gave you. You're not enjoying outer bliss from something else. It's your own inner bliss. And then the Nirmanakaya. This is the manifest side that benefits beings. It's pointing at this and telling you this. And you're ultimately offering this back to yourself. You're offering this recognition back to yourself. Because we can offer as much as we want to the outer guru. We can offer as much as we want to like visualize mandalas. But you need to offer it back to yourself. Actually, you lost it. You found it. Now you have a chance where you found it. Now give it back to yourself, right? It's like the same story of that they use in empowerments, where the prince who lost his kingdom, he didn't know he had the gold under the ground, or like, it was always there the whole time. So this is what this is pointing at. Yeah, quite profound. Anyway, this is the mandala section, pointing at the three kayas. Pretty straightforward, simple to apply. It's not very long. You can spend, you can do a session where it's just one outer mandala, inner and secret, or you can combine all three into one session or whatnot. If you have the ability to offer the mandala plate, with the sections, with the offering substances on there, you can. If not, you can even put a support mandala on your altar, which can be a mandala plate, a very nice plate, something that you have, and like nice substances stacked up on there. And then you can just repeat the mandala section verbally, right? Really just work with your own condition. Better to practice what you will practice than think about you have to do things and you won't practice it. So better to apply it however you apply it, And then in the end, do the dedication, and then rest, take the 4 empowerments. Okay, that's it, I guess. Let me go back to screen share, and then we can read some dedication prayers. Okay. By this merit may I attain omniscience, having defeated the enemies, my wrongdoings. May I liberate all beings who are tossed in the ocean of samsara by the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. By the merit accumulated in the 3 times by myself and all beings, and by the knowledge we have gained, may all sentient beings of the 6 realms, without exception, realize the primordial wisdom of the 5 Buddhakayas and the Dharmadhatu Mandala of the awakened mind. Precious, glorious root Guru, seated on the lotus at my heart, hold me with kindness and bestow accomplishments of body, speech, and mind. I pray for the excellent health of the Guru. I pray that the Guru lives a supremely long life. I pray that the Guru's activities spread far and wide. Grant blessings that I may not be separated from my Guru. May the Buddha's teachings, the only source of benefit and happiness, long endure, and may the lives of those upholding the teachings remain steadfast like the victory banners. May the sound of the great Dharma drum liberate all sentient beings from suffering. Please remain and teach the Dharma for infinite millions of kalpas. By the force of this powerful merit, may the aspirations of the benefactors and their circles be accomplished within this very life. May all obstacles be pacified, may everything be auspicious, and may their wishes be fulfilled according to the Dharma. Through this virtue, may all sentient beings in the 3 realms and all the deceased who wander in the bardo abandon taking birth in evil states and attain the happiness of higher birth. Just as the hero Manjushri realized things as they are, so too did Samantabhadra. I will follow in their path by perfectly dedicating all of these virtues. Since all such dedications have been praised as supreme by the Buddhas of the 3 times, I perfectly dedicate all my roots of virtue towards excellent conduct. By the blessings of the Buddhas who attained the 3 kayas, by the blessings of the truth of the unchanging Dharmata, by the blessings of the undivided Sangha order, May my aspirations be fulfilled according to this dedication. By the power of the Three Jewels Truth, by the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the power of having fully perfected the two accumulations, and by the pure and inconceivable nature of the Dharmadhatu, may these prayers be fulfilled accordingly. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain, unsurpassed, precious, perfectly complete awakening. Great Vajradhara, Talopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharmalord Gampopa, Pagmadrupa, and Lord Drikungpa, may the auspiciousness of all the Kagyu Lamas endure. Then we'll read Long Life of Garchen Rinpoche here. Known in the noble land as Aryadeva, you emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chodingpa, the heart son of Jigten Gompo. May the life of the glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 aeons. Okay. All right, thank you. It is nice to practice together. Yes. Andy, what's up?
Hi, I just want to say thank you quickly. I'm practicing this every week, and your explanations are so helpful. And I just had a really mundane question, but I wondered if there are any extant tanker images related to the cycle at all.
So there is, yeah, it's quite difficult actually to find any like field of refuge or even Yidam images of the cycle. I have on. I'll send you actually email. Actually, I'll send out the group. There's one decent kind of a bit higher quality. I don't know how large it can be blown up, but pretty good. Of Nuden Dorje at least, with kind of maybe his 2 heart sons and a few of the deities from his inner Guru Yoga actually that are on that. I can send that. And then actually yesterday I spent a lot of time actually trying to reconstruct through the description in the Dechen Nyingpo, which is kind of the outer Guru Yoga that comes after this. It's there's outer, inner, and secret. It's a Hayagriva with Varahi in union. A little bit different than it's actually a red Vajravarahi, a red Hayagriva, singular, 2 arms, 2 legs. So that I was able to kind of reconstruct an image of that using first, just basically a bunch of things puzzled together, then AI, then take it out, go into Photoshop, retweak it, back and forth for a long time, and that came out quite nice. I can send you that as well. That would be it right now.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, no problem. We'll send that for sure. Okay, then the next section after Mandala Guru Yoga. Let's see what Nick said. Nick said a few of the nundras I've done of the Three Kaya doesn't have the fourth reflection, accumulations. Is that a key time to also reflect on the play of Dangropa or Sol or just through practice? No, you can actually you can reflect on during the four empowerments. After you take the 4 empowerments and you're resting, this kind of reflecting on Dangropa and Sol, so like the open side, the movement side, and then the solidified side. This is actually when we rest for a moment. I mean, okay, most of us will only rest for a moment, kind of in like an open state before movement happens. Then when movement happens, like a thought is coming up, this is the time where you can recall. Actually, it's a good time to like almost use it as one of the modes of liberation, right? Kind of these 4 ways of liberation, like Shardrol, Sirdrol, Shardrol, Rangdrol, like kind of like liberation upon awareness, liberation upon arising, or kind of self-liberation. So as you feel you're starting to get pulled, right? This energy starting to pull. If at that moment you know, like, oh, this, right? Without going super deep, we're not like contemplating and reflecting for like 30 minutes on like a dissertation in our mind. But if you realize, like, oh, this is like kind of a pointing out of Rolpa. This is how Rolpa moves, right? We were resting for a moment, and then now there's movement. If you contemplate quickly and even go, oh, Rolpa, then this can allow it to collapse, right? And then if it spirals out, it's too quick, right? And it's like we get caught in a thought. But if you, again, kind of tell yourself, oh, this is Sol energy, because Sol has to do with our outer environment, which even means thoughts. Thought is part of like this six senses, right? So it's like it's still Sol energy. If you go, oh, thought is like Sol energy, let it collapse, and then you rest for a moment. It's still fabricated a bit, but it's like it's lessening the fabrication. Then if when that's cut, you kind of tell yourself like this Dang energy is like being open and spacious with nothing, and then like you settle back into it. Then you're starting to realize this play of the energies, right? So you can think of like in one way, we're taught in like Trekchud practice that, oh, just liberate as it arises, and or liberate upon one of these things, actually, like either upon bare awareness, upon arising, or it just liberates and collapses. And this is like another type of liberation. This is like self-liberation, right? But the reality is like maybe that's like one side. It's not so easy to keep coming back to, because we don't understand the dynamics of what's going on, right? And we kind of judge ourselves where we're at. Oh, I had a thought, it's not good, I want to come back. But if you remember Dong Ropa and Saw like that, like, oh, this is just like the kind of like pointing at the play of Rolpa. This is just the play of Saw. This is like the Dong energy where it happens. If you recall and contemplate on that process, then it becomes a bit more we become less judgmental to the process, and we need to actually understand that these processes and these different aspects of what's happening are not bad or good, right? They're just part of these three energies of Dang, Ropa, and Sol. So that's like one way you can do it. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's it for now. Next, we'll move on to the Guru Yoga. I'll try to do like once a month, actually. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like once a month, do the next section. So then we have Guru Yoga, and then we have the juicy part, as people would like to say, is the kind of the Korde Rushin of the practice, which is quite amazing. So we're getting there. All right. Thank you for practicing together, and we'll catch you next time. I'll just send a blast, an email blast with the tanka of Nuden Dorje and then the Hayagriva image. Okay, and that will be there. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.